And it's so transparently obvious. And I'll be honest, I think what she did to you is abhorrent. She was a clown then, she's a clown now. This entire thing for her is political. Trump didn't want to back her in a statewide race in Georgia, and she's a conspiracy theorist then, and she's a conspiracy theorist now. And I would caution you. I would caution you.
I don't think Joe Rogan is. I don't think.
Scott Jennings just called Marjorie Taylor Greene a clown on live CNN television, a conspiracy theorist, abhorrent. Those were his words. And he is completely right about every single one of them. There is just one problem. And David Hogg saw it immediately and put it on the table before Jennings could finish his sentence. If Marjorie Taylor Greene is a clown and a conspiracy theorist now, what was she 6 weeks ago when the President of the United States was on the phone with Tucker Carlson? What was she 6 months ago when Trump was fully embracing every single one of these people? What does it say about the man Scott Jennings has spent years defending that he built his entire movement with people he is now being forced to call repulsive on television? That is the question that shifted the entire room. And David Hogg asked it calmly, directly, and without flinching, which is remarkable considering this man chased him around the Capitol, calling him a crisis actor after children were murdered at his high school. Hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and let's get into every piece of this. Let's
Candace Owens and Marjorie Taylor Greene for breaking with Donald Trump and expressing their buyer's remorse.
The thing that has been very fascinating, especially about Marjorie and Candace, is that they are not just coming out like the other ones that you'd mentioned, where they're saying this action is wrong, right? They're saying, I am done with you. We should give them credit for that.
So if somebody is ready to take that step and at least talk to us and maybe do something differently, the message cannot be, I told you so. The message has to be, welcome aboard. What else can we do together?
Ilhan Omar is saying, give them credit. Pete Buttigieg is saying, let's hold hands and say, what can we do together? Do you think that's the right move?
So look, I have to address something first, which is that when I was, I've had a personal interaction with Marjorie Taylor Greene. When I was 18 after the shooting at my high school, when I was lobbying members of Congress, my fellow activists in March for Our Lives, Marjorie Taylor Greene, before she was a member, started chasing me around saying that the shooting at my high school didn't happen, that I was a crisis actor, that I was paid by the government to do all these just horrible things that are completely false. And at the same time, what those conversations that they're talking about remind me of is my own evolution as an activist. In terms of when I was in college, I didn't go to college to just be surrounded by a bunch of liberals necessarily. I know that's hard for you guys to believe, but it's true. That's why I joined the shooting club when I was in college. And as you can imagine, Scott, I was not very popular there. But it's important to talk to people who disagree with us, because ultimately, even though we're Democrats and Republicans, we have to find what little overlap there is that we can move forward on. And look, we can speculate all we want on her intentions and why she's doing this ultimately. But from my perspective, I'm willing to take that first step and have that conversation with her. And I would challenge her to this too. If she wants to come on your show and talk to me directly about why she's changed her mind, I'm happy to do that and have that conversation. And I would challenge her to do that and prove to us why she actually is authentic and changing, and that this is not just another opportunistic political opportunity like it was when she chased me after the shooting at my high school. But I'm willing to give her a small chance to have that conversation. But it's important to note too, this is not just a Marjorie Taylor Greene phenomenon. We're seeing Tucker Carlson. We're seeing people across the board defect increasingly from Trump.
Okay. What do all those people have in? What do all those people have in common, by the way?
Trump.
What is it they all have in common?
Ago and now he doesn't.
When I hear Ilhan Omar, you know what I hear? How do you do, fellow anti-Semites? That's what I hear.
Yeah, that's what's about Israel.
Not this so is about. There is a thread here, and it's so transparently obvious. And I'll be honest. I think what she did to you is abhorrent. She was a clown then. She's a clown now. This entire thing for her is political. Trump didn't want to back her in a statewide race in Georgia, and she's a conspiracy theorist then, and she's a conspiracy theorist now. And I would caution you. I would caution you.
I don't think Joe Rogan's an anti-Semite. I don't think Andrew Schultz is an anti-Semite. I don't think Eric Erickson is an anti-Semite.
No.
I think there's a lot of people around the country whose names we don't know who were
We're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson.
You're saying other people.
But just 1 second.
What do all of them have in common?
Even if you say that the only thing that is important about those three individuals in particular is that they're anti-Semitic, what does it say about the president that he was totally fine with them 6 months ago?
Well, and they were totally fine with him.
What does it say?
Look, he attracted a lot of people, and some of the people that he attracted like that have those views, I completely and totally disagree with. And he has been quite clear about his views on these issues, and he has led the party away from those views, and that's frankly one of the reasons they're not in it anymore.
He spoke on the phone with Tucker Carlson about 6 weeks ago.
What did he say? What did he say about him last week?
But why? I mean, look, you're arguing to me that they are repulsive people who are anti-Semitic. The president of the United States is on the phone with them, and
he disavowed them last week.
I'm just saying,
that you're talking about.
Let's go back to what David said, because I think it's important. I mean, is there a way to work with a Marjorie Taylor Greene, or I mean, Candace Owens? Candace Owens, really? Is that really what Democrats are going to be doing?
Marjorie Taylor Greene, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, and others are responsible for creating the personality that we are dealing with in the White House today and all of the issues that come along. I believe the best indicator of future performance is to look at past performance. Marjorie Taylor Greene hasn't had any great Jesus moment. We've been talking a lot about him. Let me bring him to the table. She hasn't had some great Jesus moment. This is all about her. What attention would Marjorie Taylor Greene be getting today if she had not turned so fully against the president? I'm not a believer. Now, for Ilhan Omar, thank you. I believe she has the best intentions, but I'm not ready to turn my back and invite Marjorie Taylor Greene to any table that I'm seated at.
Let's remember what the issue was that drove a wedge between Donald Trump and some of his biggest supportive Republican women, like Nancy Mace, like Lauren Boebert, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it was the Epstein files. And as much as I disagree with them, some of them are still in Congress on so many things, I do give them credit for not having bent the knee when he brought Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room and tried to bully her into not voting for the release of the files. Now, what I would say to Ilhan Omar, what I would say to Pete Buttigieg, as somebody who broke with my party in 2015, the minute the guy came down the escalator and started talking about Mexicans and immigrants, is that it is hard. Pete Buttigieg is right. When you've been part of a party your entire life, when your circles, your social circles, your family circles, your professional circles are made up in that party, it is very hard to make that break. But I don't think Democrats have to say, come in, the water is warm, because it is a personal decision. It is not one that is led by people being your cheerleaders. You do it because you feel uncomfortable with the guy who's leading the party, not because you have a cheering section telling you to jump into the pool.
And just quickly, I mean, the polling suggests that there is erosion, despite the MAGA number that Trump likes to tout. White non-college.
Let us talk about what this debate was actually revealing, because it goes well beyond one panel on one afternoon. David Hogg made a choice in that segment that deserves to be named clearly. He sat across from a conversation about Marjorie Taylor Greene, a woman who followed him through the halls of Congress after the Parkland shooting, called him a crisis actor, said the murder of his classmates did not happen, accused him of being a paid government plant, and he said he was willing to have a conversation with her, not because she deserves it, not because she has earned it, but because he believes that talking across lines matters more than the satisfaction of shutting the door. That is not weakness. That is a level of discipline and political maturity that most people twice his age do not have. And it should not go unremarked. But Anna Navarro made the point that cuts through the whole conversation, and I think she is right. Marjorie Taylor Greene did not just stand near this movement. She built it. She traveled the country, promoting it, defending the indefensible, encouraging people to embrace a politics that produced January 6th, that produced the conspiracy theories David Hogg experienced personally, that produced years of harassment campaigns against private citizens, shooting survivors, election workers, and anybody else who got in the way. She did not stumble into this. She constructed it brick by brick and called it her career. And now the Epstein files are out. Trump did not back her statewide race in Georgia. The polling among white non-college educated voters, one of the most reliable foundations of the MAGA coalition, has dropped from roughly 6 in 10 supporters to under half in the span of a year. That is not a minor fluctuation. That is the ground shifting under the entire movement. And suddenly, Marjorie Taylor Greene has found her conscience. History has a name for this pattern. When Senator Joseph McCarthy fell, the politicians and media figures who had spent years amplifying him and protecting him did not stand up and say we were wrong. They rewrote their own stories. They created distance. They found reasons why they had always had private reservations. They wanted to be on the right side of history without doing the work of actually getting there honestly. And the public, by and large, let them do it because the appetite for accountability fades quickly once the immediate crisis passes. That is the bet MTG and Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are making right now. That people will be so relieved to see prominent voices from that world break with Trump that nobody will look too hard at the timing. That the political winds shifting will be accepted as a moral awakening. That showing up late will be treated the same as showing up right. Scott Jennings calling MTG a clown today does not erase the years of panels where those same voices were treated as serious political figures worth platforming and engaging. And Jennings defending Trump's disavowal of Tucker Carlson while acknowledging the president was on the phone with him 6 weeks ago is not a defense. It is the very contradiction David Hogg put his finger on and Jennings could not resolve. Here is the question I want you to sit with. If someone helps build a fire, watches it burn for years, and only picks up a bucket when the flames start heading toward their own house, do they get credit for fighting the fire? Because that is the real debate this panel was having underneath all the names and the accusations and the clown references. Not whether MTG changed. Whether the change means anything when the timing is this convenient and the receipts are this long. Drop a comment below. Do you think these political reversals from MTG, Tucker, and Candace Owens are genuine, or do you think they are reading the polling and protecting themselves? I want to know where you stand. Subscribe to Kelly Takeover because we are tracking every single one of these conversions and we are not letting the receipts expire. See you in the next one.